JB here. JB here. Hope everybody's doing outstanding. Let's see if I can get on here. Hope everybody's doing outstanding. May 15th, 2024, about 2:11 here on this fine afternoon. Just going to talk really quick about some of the names I'm looking at. Not too many today. Talk a little bit about some names I'm looking for tomorrow and go from there. But you take a look at the SPY, the S&P. I think it was just a couple minutes ago that the S&P topped 5,300 for the first time ever. Um, CPI numbers this morning kind of gave a little relief to folks who maybe thought that the Fed was going to scale back on the possibility of cutting rates this year. And I think it bodes well. And we're kind of going through earnings season. We had the weaker than expected GDP numbers. Then you have couple that with the weaker than expected April jobs numbers. PPI number yesterday, I call that a forward looking number because those the costs associated with the producers are eventually going to work their way into the CPI, but I guess not too bad. So, so that's that. Take some of the names. So, um, you know, I was uh, I was looking to. Well, I'll talk about Dell in a second, but Adobe's a name I've been looking to trade for a bounce over the last couple of weeks. Tried to trade the bounce. I don't know if 2 weeks ago, through. I have to go pull it up. Finally got some calls to play for a move. I think it trades over $500, whether it be before the end of this week or into next week. So really like this setup. Added some strikes. Um, you know, see this big earnings gap all the way from 550 or so on, I guess growth concerns. But I think it's a great AI play. So continue to look for Adobe, play for upside, and then there's Dell. So I was sitting on the 145 May strikes for a couple weeks at least. Y- I've posted my thoughts on Dell. I look and lots of collaboration with the NVIDIA, the CEO. Dell's kind of like this old company. They built these old computers, right? It's not exciting. It's not it doesn't it's not like you look at Dell and say, "Oh wow, this is going to be a 10 or 100, 15, 20, or 50 bagger." But I think it's underappreciated. And then you start looking, they're going to have their event next week. They're going to have earnings the week after. You see what's happening with Supermicro. And I'm like, is Supermicro executing at a much higher level than Dell? Maybe. But here's the CEO and founder of NVIDIA mentioning Dell. And then they're going to have I don't know if it's a fireside chat or something next week. There's just a lot of little moving parts that I think bodes well for Dell. So it's tough here. Lock my 145s in. Uh, I have some higher strikes going to expire. I may look for some June slash July strikes before the close. Just think, you look at it, it's tough to value. It's a hardware company. The margins are low, but I think this whole transformation bodes well for Dell, and I don't know how much is baked in. I think maybe it goes to 160, 170, even some FOMO past that, and then maybe it finds some kind of equilibrium, 165 or so. So I'll continue to look for opportunities on that. And that's my rant. I'm gonna really, uh, I already said if you don't want to hear me rant about EMVX, then this is that, and I'll post this in the chat room. But here's EMVX, and so a couple things, and the stock is sitting here at 937. It's tough, right? So to be a bear on EMVX, do I think it's a $5 stock, a $0 stock? I don't know. I just think there's a lot of red flags. And I remember back in the day on a stock like Longfin, and people are messaging me, they message and say, "Oh, you're calling EMVX Longfin or Nikola?" I'm like, I'm not, but these are comparisons that I can pull from where there were red flags that led me to a belief that the stock deserves to be valued much less than where it is today, right? So, and in both of those instances, even Longfin, I remember I'd write pieces, I'd post them on Twitter and in Reddit and stock twits, and people would attack me, and I started to doubt myself. I said, "Wait, am I wrong?" And then eventually it got proven true. Same with Nikola. And we'll talk, not talk, we can argue about who came out with the bear piece on Nikola first, but they the one who has the infamy now is the one, I guess, people, they all interviewed him and whatever. But I posted my due diligence on Reddit, and I got messages from reporters saying, "Oh, where'd you find us? Are you friends with him? Can we talk?" But that's not my thing. But anyway, so I'm not saying this translates 100% with ENVX, but the more I look at, I have to make a list of all the red flags. So I posted one of them, and to me, so most recently they filed a 10K. So every year, which is good, publicly traded company. If you're a skeptic of a company, that's great. Here's SEC requires you to be transparent, audited, and all that fun stuff. So at the end of 2022, Enovix said they had a patented 3D cell architecture, right? So now this past year, instead of saying it's a patented 3D cell architecture, they have a proprietary 3D cell architecture. So why would they change that, right? So I mean, the patent offers you the utmost protection on your IP, your intellectual property. Why would you change that? No answer on that. They're not going to address it, I'm sure. It's just in there, I think, to protect themselves because a couple things. I think there's three possibilities here. One is they never had the patent, and because they became a SPAC via this like almost pressure to go public, they had this as part of their information, and then they realized people might scrutinize it, so they removed it. So that's number one. Number two, the patent expired, and then the last, which I think is the least reach, is that they're using the word proprietary to include a basket of all their intellectual property, which I don't think that's the case. They only have 50, 60 patents, but not here nor there. So I'm probably the only person who's seen this change in the 10K, and probably the company hopes no one else sees it. But so that's that. So then number two is the change in I've said this before on some of my rants, the change in their about us or what they put in their press releases. So if you go to November of 2022, they are the leader in design and manufacturing of next generation 3D silicon lithium ion batteries. Like crazy, right? So so they are the leader. Not only, do they filings, whatever, but they tout themselves as the leader. So not more than, exactly a year later, not only they're not the leader, they are just they they changed their wording to just being an advanced silicon battery company. Right? So I'm like, within a year, your technology, which is patented or maybe it's proprietary, went from being the the leader to just being advanced. Like, how crazy is that? So that's November. So then you go December, January, February, March, April, May, which was his most recent release. 6 months later, now all of a sudden they're a global high performance battery company. So so they went from being a leader in the design and manufacture of 3D silicon lithium batteries, and it says TM there, trademark. Who knows where that trademark is, but that's not listed anywhere in their filings anymore after that, to being an advanced silicon battery to now they're just a high performance battery company. So again, just red flags. Also, I've talked about this too. They're, you know, the, well, no, well now he's on the board of directors, the chairman. He created the SPAC, brought ENVX into the SPAC, created this whole market cap for ENVX, which is at 1.7 billion or whatever it is now. And then in the transcript, I wouldn't call it a deposition, but in the transcript of the discussion of them acquiring or at least merging, creating this entity, the the founder says that people were paying $30 million just to have this asset. And of course, this whole deal got consummated, and now where's that $30 million? And it's right there in the transcript, but no one talks about it. It doesn't. Uh, it does no one any good. If you're, if you're a holder, you're the founder. Like, why would you? No one wants to bring that up. Just let the stock trade. Like And that's what stinks, some of these names. And that's why, I talk about Longfin, I talk about Nikola, and Nikola rallied, after I came up with all these easy to see, red flags. It still rallied because it's very hard. And I'm not saying, I don't want people to lose money. There's people who message me that are long on EMVX, but that's some of my thoughts. I'll keep I'll keep going after some of the thoughts. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm like, if you take a look at AMPX is another similar company with somewhat similar technology. Who knows what it is because you can't compare because EMVX doesn't talk much about their technology besides fluff PRs and what have you. But they announced an Army deal back in the summer, which so did EMVX, and then last week announced that they finally got an order from the Army, and EMVX, which had said they were working with the Army. There's nothing. They don't say anything beside outside of their CEO saying on his Ask Me Anything, saying, "Oh yeah, we have orders. We're sending batteries to the military. We have our brake flow technology, and we work on orders, and we will send them as part of our program." And like all generalizations, like it's I don't want to sit and call him, uh, accuse him or the company of anything, right? He's a publicly traded company. He has to be very careful with his words. At the start of his AMA, he had to say, forward-looking statements and all that. So I get it. Like, I'm not trying to, but this guy's he has a $17 million compensation package. His job, right, is to return shareholder value to the customers, employees, and the shareholders, right? So he's doing two of the three. And so, not here nor there. I'm not going to sit here and you know argue that, but it's just ironic. So then I'll post that on FinTwit that this other company has that Army order, and they say, "Oh no, no, it's not accurate, blah blah blah." And then they'll say, "Oh well, that's Enovix is not focused on that side of the business." But I'm like, then why would they press release it? You know what I mean? If your business is focused on other things, then don't press release that. It's similar to that medtech company, supposed medtech company that they have their FDA approval for their medical device that monitors oxygen and whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. I've emailed them. I've talked about this before, but they press released this back in the fall saying that product powered by Enovix batteries is going to be in Walmart's, CVS's, and Walgreens in 2024. Then he emailed the company, and it's like that person who filed the 510K FDA approval from the US it's like a one person operation and there's no product, there's no customer. I'm like, how did they come to this person? Like, and then to not only that, then to press release this as like you're a $1.7 billion company and this is how you validate your valuation. So anyway, I'll save these rants for another day. 6 months from now, 12 months from now, maybe, ENVX is 30, $50. I don't think so. It's like when Mana Doctor was up 30, $35. I'm like, Mana Doctor, it's not, it's definitely not a $30 stock. It's if anything, maybe it's a 50-cent stock. It'll trade on the penny stocks for many years. And again, I know a lot of people I've got messages from, and I'm not trying to, I want someone to convince me to be bullish on Enovix. Say, yeah, they have a technology patented, Samsung, Apple, some of these China companies are gonna, they're gonna take the battery, but then you start looking at just it takes about 5 minutes to do research, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, Samsung has solid state batteries that perform 40% better than any of these batteries that are on the market. And then the other part, there's no argument. What about lithium? And a lot of these folks don't have any respect for Elon Musk, but as much as you hate him, like him, I have respect for him. And lithium's a problem. So Enovix. So where are you getting your lithium from? Where are you getting all your, you know, whatever you need to make the batteries? There's no conversation. What's the cost? What's the margins? Rants for other days, folks. Thanks for listening. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.